Hello everyone, today's refashion is a little different in the sense that I'm taking you behind the scenes and showing you how I altered these pants on myself with zero help. I've always wanted a pair of wide leg linen pants, so I was really happy when I found these at my local thrift store. I wanted to do more than just a simple resize and was inspired by this pair for a paper bag ruffle waist look. Starting with the resize, my biggest concern was the baggy crotch. So how did I solve that problem? I found that making the pants high-waisted by simply pulling the pants up did the trick. First thing I did was to make sure the crotch was sitting comfortably, then distributed the excess at the waist evenly on both sides. I then pinned down the sides, tapering off into the seams. Okay, so there are a few ways to take in a pair of pants, but personally I prefer doing it from the sides, especially if there's a lot that needs to be taken in. Also, you could fit the pants inside out for this, but I felt better doing it this way because my pair was fully lined. Once I was happy with the fit, I checked that everything was laying smoothly. One other thing I paid attention to, and that was to ensure I could remove the pants with ease. Now that I had an idea of how much I needed taken in, I took a couple measurements of the excess at the waist and how far down it tapers, then made a note of them. The reason I did it this way was because I first had to open a section of the waistband to separate the lining from the pants and to gain access to the side seams. Afterwards, I turned the pants inside out to reveal the seams, then using the measurements, I repinned it, then basted it for a second fit. I did this for both sides, including the lining. Before trying it on, I temporarily pinned the waistband back in place. Alrighty, here's what that looks like. I was happy with the fit except for the bulging left pocket. I compared the two and found the spacing between both pockets and side seams were different. On the right side there was about an inch gap and on the left there was none. To fix this, I shifted the side seam a little towards the back. And here it is all fixed and finished. Of course, the same was done for the lining. Moving on to the waistband, I removed the excess at the sides, leaving a ½ inch allowance. To mark the new seams, I grabbed a pencil and traced along the inner corners where the sides meet. Next, I opened up the waistband a bit to join the two front strips and two back strips together. This is so the waistband remained a continuous channel for the ruffled waist. Another thing I did in preparation for the ruffles was to remove the front flap closure. I also reattached the waistband to the pants at the sides. Now we're going to quickly shift our focus to the hem and you'll see why shortly. The pants were still too long even after pulling up the waist, so using the hem as a guide, I turned them up, then pinned them in place and fit. It turned out to be perfect, even though the right side seemed slightly shorter. It could have been due to the way I was standing because I was looking over my shoulder. Okay, before removing the excess, I quickly pushed the lining up and out of the way. Using the old hem as a guide, I cut right above it. To finish the hem, I serged the raw edges, then turned it under a ½ inch and sewed it in place. The same was done for the lining. If you haven't already figured it out, I reused the discarded strips from the hem for the ruffles. How much fabric you'll need depends on your pants waist measurement and the look you're going for. For a similar look, here's what I recommend. I started by joining the strips together and closing the ends. Next, I sewed a row of basting stitch ½ inch from the edge. I used heavy duty thread for this because I'll be gathering 2 layers of fabric. Using 2 layers is what helps to keep the ruffles upright on the waist. I knew it wouldn't be enough to ruffle the entire waist, but I didn't want to go too crazy anyways and add too much bulk at my waist, so I opted to do just the front. That said, I only gathered half the strip with a quarter on either end. Also, I forgot to mention, but make sure to mark the center of the strip before gathering. Okay, so I went ahead and opened up the top of the entire band. Taking the strip, I aligned the center with the center back waist, then tucked in a ½ inch of the strip between the band and pinned. I used the basting stitch as a guide. Once I got around to the front, I started the ruffles at the side seams. On the sides where the front halves overlap, I stopped a little past the closure. Afterwards, I checked that the ruffles were even and everything was sitting nicely. I would recommend you quickly baste it before heading over to the machine. And that was pretty much it. Thanks for watching. If you like DIYs, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and be sure to follow me along on Instagram for a sneak peek of my upcoming video. Until next time.